Yeah. Okay, good morning. We're in Taf Chaf Tes, which is in Chelek Hey. We're starting again from the beginning of Chelek Hey. Taf Chaf Tes, She'enofen al pneim kol Nissan, uvo be'seifim Aleph, Sholem b'ilchos Pesach Gadol and Pesach Shloshim Yom. You should start asking Shilas, learning Halachos Pesach 30 days before Pesach. Hagadol, Aminag Lignos Chitim, There's a minig to gather chitim, to collect money, mos chitim, so that the aniyim have everything they need for Pesach, matzah and wine and food. Anyone who is a resident of that city for 12 months needs to contribute towards that mos chitim. Beis. The whole Chodesh Nissan, you don't say Tachnun. And we're going to see a whole bunch of things that you don't do in Nissan. And the reason for it is because most of Nissan, the majority of it, falls out being a Yom Tov. How? The Nesiim that we read during the first 12 days of Nissan, each Nasi on the day that he brought a carbon, on the day that anybody brings a carbon, is a Yom Tov for that person. And so we have those 12 days, plus Erev Pesach, plus all of Pesach, that's already well over, and Isri Chag, that's already well over Rov. So once most of the month is considered Kodesh, so we make the whole thing, and so we don't say, someone go turn on the light. So we don't say Tachnun. Then we also don't say Tzidkascha after Shmona Esrei by Shabbos Mincha. Vein maspidin bo. You don't make haspedim in Chodesh Nisan. Vein misanan bo. Not only do you not make haspedim, you don't fast on Chodesh Nisan. Lahazkir b'tzibur, at least a public one where you mention it. You say that there's going to be a fast for, let's say, a lack of rain. V'habachoros misanan bo b'erev Pesach. However, the Bachoros do fast on Erev Pesach. Haga gam ein omen tziduk hadin b'chol Chodesh Nisan. If there is a burial, there's typically a special prayer that's said afterwards. It's called tziduk hadin. That's not said in Chodesh Nisan. V'nagu she'en misanan bo tanis kal. The minig is not to fast at all. I feel yom shemeis bo avvo imo, even a yahrzeit, for those who have a minig to fast on a yahrzeit. Avol tanis chalom misanan. However, if someone is concerned for their well-being because they had a very frightening dream, that person is allowed to fast on Chodesh Nisan. Vein omer mizmor l'soda v'kel Orach Chaim v'lam natzech b'erev Pesach. On Erev Pesach, there's additional things that we don't say. We skip mizmor l'soda, which is between Baruch Shomer and Yishtabach. We skip Mizmor L'Soda because it talks about bringing a carbon toda. And on the actual Erev Pesach, you can't bring a carbon toda because the Zman of a toda is supposed to be at least till Chatzos of that night. But you can't actually eat that toda because it has the Lachmei toda, and those are Chametz. It's the one Chametz carbon that a person brings. Is to say it. Interesting. All right, but so because if we were to bring a toda, if we were bringing todas, carbon toda all throughout the year, we wouldn't bring one on Erev Pesach because you'd be mocked in the zman achila of it, because you can't eat the lachmei toda already, halfway on Erev Pesach. So that's why the Ramah, the Minhag Ashkenaz, is not to say it. And we also don't say Kel Orach Chaim because it's a Yontif. Erev Pesach itself is a Yontif. V'lam Natzeach, we also don't say Lam Natzeach be'erev Pesach v'lo b'Yom Tov. V'nogen l'harvus ksas b'achil u'shsiya b'yom achar hachag, since we're already talking about the different special sayings on the whole Chodesh Nisan and the different ways that the days are holidays. There is something to Isri Chag. You should be marba a little bit Achilon Shtia. If you're thinking about which day to go out to a restaurant, that's a good day. V'hu Isri Chag. That's what we call Isri Chag. Taf Lam Revo Sif Echad. Shabbos Shlefnei HaPesach Karen Asa Shabbos Hagadol. The Shabbos that is before Pesach is called Shabbos Hagadol Mipnei Hanei Shnas Bo, because of the miracle that happened on that Shabbos. That Shabbos is the day when the Bnei Yisrael in Mitzrayim each took a sheep and tied it onto their bed, and the Mitzrayim were asking, "What is this?" And they said, "Oh, we're going to shach this in 4 days." And this was a very big deal to the Mitzrayim because they worshipped sheep. And and they weren't able to do anything because they already came to realize that Hashem is protecting the Bnei Yisrael. Because of that miracle, we canonized that Shabbos as Shabbos Hagadol. It's unusual that we go by the day of the week and not by the date, but that is what we do. Hagav haminig lomer b'mincha hagada mitchel savadam hayinu ad l'chap al kol avonasenu. There is a minhag that after mincha, or at the time of the afternoon, to say at least the part of the Haggadah from Avadam Hayinu to L'chap al kol avonasenu, mostly to get familiar with it, but also because that's the beginning of the Geula happens on that Shabbos with in front of the Mitzrayim. Upaskim lomer barchi nafshi. That's also the Shabbos when you stop saying barchi nafshi throughout the winter. So we're getting ready to change for Pirkei Avos in the summer. So that's when already you would stop saying barchi nafshi on Shabbos Hagadol. Taf Lamed Aleph, Zman Bedikas Chametz, Uvos Ve'Seifim Aleph Betchilas Leil Arba Asa Benisan, Bod Kenes Chametz La'or Haner. We're going to be talking about all the halachas of Bedikas Chametz, and the first one is that it's on the evening before the 14th of Nissan, and you have to check all of your rishuts for Chametz to the light of a candle. B'chorin u'b'stakin, and you check also holes and cracks. B'chol hamakom she'derech nesham chametz, and any place that you usually bring in chametz. And the Mishnah Berurah changes the lashon, not she'derech nesham chametz, that you consistently bring chametz, but even if you might, in the middle of a seudah, go to that place and leave some chametz there once during the year, that would be enough. So it has to be any place that you might bring in chametz, not some place that you habitually bring in chametz. Beis Yizar kol adam shelo yasel b'shum malacha. A person should be careful not to start any malacha v'lo yochal ad shivdok. Don't start malacha and don't start a meal until you do bedikas chametz on Leil Bedikas Chametz. Even if you have a set time for your chavrusa or your shir, lo yilmod ad shivdok. Do not learn until you do the bedika. If you started during the daytime, ein tzarich lahafsik. You don't have to interrupt. The Rama says shetzarich lahafsik, that you do have to stop. Why? Because the ikr, and I believe that's the right psak. And the reason why is because the ikar takana of the chacham was the time of Bedikas Chametz is at the beginning of the night, and you don't want to push that off. That's when everybody in Klal Yisrael should be doing the Bedika. Taf Lamed Beis Din Birkas Bedikas Chametz Uvo Beis Ifim Aleph Kodem Shias Livdok Yivarach Asher Kedeshana B'Mitzvos Vitzivanu Al Bir Chametz. The bracha that you say is not al bedikas chametz; it's on al bir chametz, for destroying it. Which you're starting the beer that you're going to be doing tomorrow. You're already starting now, because if you find something, you'll destroy it. So you're doing the bedikas so that you can destroy chametz. Then hiska livdok below bracha. If you started doing the bedika without any bracha, yivar kol zman shlo siyam bedikaso. You can make the bracha the whole time until you end doing the bedika, because you should do a bracha over last yasim, but as long as you're doing the mitzvah, the bracha still can be chal. The Zohar Be careful not to speak between the bracha and the start of the Bedika. It's good not to talk at all during at least talk about other things not related to the Bedika. Just like in a meal, you can say, pass the salt, please slice me some bread. You can say that after you washed. So it's the same kind of thing here. Anything about the Bedika, did you check there? You can say l'chatchila. But talking about other things, what did the Yankees do today? Should not be. It's better if you do not talk about that until you finish the whole Bedika. In order that you concentrate on doing a good search in all of the places, again, where you might have brought in Chametz. With one bracha, you can check many homes. The Baal Bayis can gather up his children, his household, when he makes the one bracha. They all heard it, they're all Yotzei, and then they each one to a different place, a different house, a different room, on the one bracha that the Baal Bayis made. Mishnah Berurah goes into what if they didn't hear it, if someone just asked someone for help, because the Bedikas seems to be too much for him, that person can check without a bracha. There is a minhag to spread out pieces of chametz, and Mishnah Berurah points out they should be hard such that they don't leave crumbs. To leave out pieces of chametz so that when the person that does the Bedika can find them, in order that the bracha should not be levatala. Now, strictly speaking, this is not needed, but it is a minhag kodesh, and you should stick to it. Umihu imlonasan lo ikev. If you didn't put it out, it doesn't matter. Dadas kol adam im bracha levar im nimtza. Because the kavanah when you make the bracha is, if I find chametz, I'll destroy it tomorrow. But that it is a minhag. Taf lamed gimel. Dinim Bedikas Chametz uvo Yud Aleph Seifim Aleph. Bedikas Achshatia laor haner v'lo laor halavana. The Bedika has to be laor haner, and that's why we don't check during the daytime. Also, it can't be to the light of the moon. It's not good enough. There's two reasons why the Chacham set up the Bedika the night preceding the 14th. That's a time when people are home. They're home at night, but also so that you can use a candlelight and not rely on sunlight, which doesn't get everywhere in a house, and it's not really good enough. We're gonna see a bit about kinds of candles that you can't use because you're afraid that it'll drip. And practically speaking, if you're going to be checking under the bed for chametz and you're afraid that a candle will ignite your dust ruffle, so use a flashlight, right? So, or even the lights in the room can also be used. For under a bed, you would definitely use a flashlight. But if you're just looking around, you can use the lights in the room. But the ikar takana is to use or haner v'lo or halavana. The im avar v'lo badak leil arba asar. If you didn't check the night of the 14th, the night before the 14th, kishabodek b'yom, you still have to do the bedika before the zman iser. But now it's already sunlight, so what do you do? Kishabodek b'yom arba asar lo yudok l'orach chaim. Don't check by the sunlight. Ela l'or haner. Still use a candle / flashlight. V'chsadra sha'or rav. However, a porch which has a roof but is open on three sides, so it has tremendous amount of light coming into it. And bedakal or chamadayo. So such a room which is open on three sides and has a lot of sunlight there. If you check by the sunlight, that would be enough. But even still, that the lechatchila you should always use or haner. That's also true. Right opposite a window. Again, if you check by that would be enough, but l'chadchila you should check by or haner. Beis en botin l'or ha'avuka el or haner. You can't check by the light of a torch, which has multiple wicks, only by the light of a candle with a single wick. Below b'ner shel chelev, not with a candle made of fat, which would drip. Below shel shuman, another kind of fat. Below shel shemen, and not an oil lamp. El b'ner shel shava, but a wax candle. Hagav hu yichidi, which has a single wick. Or just a single candle. Al shteiner biachad, but to hold two candles together. Afilu kluim, even if they are woven together, they're wrapped together. Dinim kavuka, that would also be like a torch. Again, that you're afraid that you'll burn something down, so the point is that you're going to use something to see very clearly. You check all the places that you can expect that maybe you brought chametz into there. That's why all of the rooms of a house and of the upper floor would need a bedika. Sometimes you'll go to your bedroom in the middle of the Suda while you're still chewing. Or he says, or while the bread is in your hand. I guess the chashash is not that the crumbs will get there, but you'll forget a piece of bread in the room. But if you have a cellar, which is, or really a storehouse, a silo, which is used to store things, or I guess like a rental storage unit, where you only store things in there, and you never go there in the middle of the meal, then that you wouldn't have to check. That where you're not getting it in the middle of the meal, it's really just for long-term storage. If you have a shed that you store straw in it, and again, you're never going there in the middle of a meal, would not need a bedika. Dalet chori habayis v'zizin habolten me'aksalim. Holes in the floor or in the walls of the house, and similarly small ledges that stick out from the wall. She'enim gavoam harbe v'lo nemucham harbe. They're not very high. They're not very low. Tzrichim bedika. You need to check them because you may have put chametz in them. But a ledge, which is, let's say, on the top of a window, that a person's hand could not reach. Or very low, less than 3 tvachim high, you would not need to check. The Mishnah Berurah points out that if there are little children in the house, then even the very low ones, lower than 3 tvachim, do need to be checked.
And it's all the sound.
Right. That's not even that you know that you ever put chametz that are correct. Hey, gag hayatzia, the roof of a shed, the hamigdal, or a break front, or some kind of chest. Shegagehem mishupayim, that have slanted roofs. So you can't really leave anything on that slanted roof. You don't have to check that slanted roof. Even if they're inside of the house, I guess which makes it more likely that you would have gotten to it with chametz. However, since it's slanted, you would never put anything down there. You would never put chametz down there, so you don't have to check. Vav. Refes shel bakar eno tzarich bedika. You don't have to check the stables. Because if there was any chametz there, the horses or the cows or any of the other animals would have eaten it. A chicken coop, you don't have to check. Had there been chametz in there, then the chickens would have eaten it. Also, your front yard or backyard, you don't have to check. If there was chametz there, then the ravens and the other birds that are found there would have eaten it. V'hani mili misfeik chametz. That's only true about if there might have been chametz there. Aval vade chametz lo. But if you for sure know that there had been chametz recently there, then that doesn't work. And I'm going to say that it's a fairly common thing amongst the women to say, oh, well, we're so close to Pesach, let's eat the Shabbos Suda outside on the porch. And that doesn't really work. Because if you had Vadai Chametz there, then you can't rely on the birds eating it. So
that's not the reason the women want to eat on the porch.
Well, the thinking is that we don't have to worry about the crumbs. The crumbs that are there, you have to check for just as much. Okay, well, I'm not talking about their motivations. I'm saying. Okay, the point that I'm making about the chutzah, the point that I'm making about the chutzah or the merpeset or whatever, is that if you brought vadei chametz there, then you need to check it. Haga, aval kaman simin taf mem hey sif gimel mavor demutar lahashla chametz b'makom she'ofes mitzuyim. There it says that like erev Pesach, before the zman of any of the yisurim, you're allowed to throw chametz into a chutzah. Use that phrase. So what does that mean? So that is talking about like the road, like the street, a public area. But your own front yard or backyard, there you can't throw stuff and say, oh, the birds are just going to eat it. You can't do that. It's only a suffix chametz, then it's a sfek sveika. Maybe there was chametz there, and if there was, then the birds probably ate it. Then you can rely on it. But to throw it into a public area where you're not going to be over on Bal Yirah, that's what we mean later on in Taf Mem. Hey, that's what the Sif Gimel. That's what the Mishnah points out. We'll stop here.